Yes, guys, welcome back to the Custard Splat podcast. This is episode 48. I've done my research properly this week, and it is definitely episode 48. We've
Hey, John White.
Johnny White, yeah, only player that I could ever think of that wore number 48 for Southend. We've got a bit of a mixed bag again in this one because in the two games since our last recording, we've had a quite simply phenomenal away result away at Halifax, and then the away game against Hartlepool, which had a little bit of everything. So we we come into this with one regular league game of the season left against Wealdstone this Saturday, early kickoff, 12:30. Um, but yeah, we'll go back to Halifax. I know there'll be a lot of conversation around the Hartlepool game last night and sort of what's sort of going to happen after that in the build up to Saturday's game and in the build up to team selection for the playoffs. But let's start with Halifax.
Hmm.
I think we've been in agreement for quite some time that the amount of chances that we've been creating in games over the last 8, 9, 10 weeks or so, somebody was going to be on the end of an absolute hiding very soon, and this was it. Near enough everything we hit on Saturday went in.
Yeah, it made a change, didn't it? Um, it started off a little bit like, are we trying to win this game? Because when we obviously went 1-0 up, there was a little bit of like, oh, hang on a minute, we're getting pulled apart here. Um, Halifax went through on goal seemingly out of nowhere numerous times. And eventually grabbed the equaliser. And I remember saying to you, I was like, we're playing shit. What's going on? And then it just seemed a bit like it turned into a bit of a basketball game. It was we'd go up the other end and score. Yeah, I mean, when was the last time we scored 6 goals away from home?
Well, I think I've because at the time I wasn't watching the game live on Saturday. I was out in London, and with it being early kickoff again, that seemed to screw me over a little bit. I tried to watch little bits on my phone, but the signal was crap. Um, yeah, it was a weird one because yeah, I wasn't shocked, but at the same time, you are just sort of thinking, what's happening here? But I've seen a couple of things after the game that at the time of sort of seeing it happening, like unfolding live in front of me, I couldn't remember a time Southend have ever scored six. It had been long enough since we'd scored five, and obviously we put five past Morecambe this season. And somebody come up with a stat that we beat Crawley. I think that was also 6-2 in an FA Cup replay in 2018, but that was after extra
Yeah,
time. And so I think that game regular time, 90 minutes, finished 2-2, and then they just completely folded in extra time. We won 6-2. But regular 90-minute league game, I think I've seen somebody post, it's been 37 years since we've done that.
bloody hell,
So that's not happened in my lifetime.
just about.
Just about. Oi.
We, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
No, I
it's
mean
been a
it's
very,
it's
a long time since we've scored six in a regular 90-minute match.
it wasn't that long ago. We're struggling to score 6 in a calendar year, and yeah, I mean, so like, I mean, obviously back the back end, wasn't it? Well, how many goals did we score from? Was it 2020, 2021, or whatever it was,
I
the
think it was
January to the
19.
end of the season?
I think it was 19.
What from the turn of the year to the end of the season?
Yeah, something like that.
It's mad. Um, yeah, I mean, is this our highest scoring season now? I mean, because
Well, we
we've
spoke
scored,
about it last week, and yeah,
yeah,
and,
we've
and
now gone and
since
scored
then,
9 in 2 games.
yeah. So it's our highest scoring season for quite some time. Don't have the official numbers in front of me, but it's been a long, long time since we've scored this amount of goals in a season. And what I thought was nice as well was it was it was all sort of scattered around again, like the goal scorers.
Mm,
Excuse me, like Ollie Coker got two, Dallas penalty, Cardwell back on the score sheet, Leon, and obviously Gus gets his customary goal. So
Yep.
Gus is now on. Is he matched last? Is he on 17 now? I think he is. He's
He's
on
yeah, but
17
then
again.
is it tied now? Because someone said it was one ahead of Dallas, but Dallas
Well,
scored.
but Dallas scored Hartlepool. So yeah, they're both on 17 now,
Wow,
which is
not bad
unbelievable.
going.
No, not bad going at all. I think everybody, we bemoan at the start of every season, oh, we need this 20 goal talisman striker.
We've
Well,
got 34 goals split between a defender and a striker. Not
yeah,
terrible,
yeah,
is it?
that ain't bad. But split between two players, that ain't bad going at all. And there's still obviously every chance that, including playoff
Mm.
games, obviously, and the trophy final, that both of those guys are more than capable of topping 20.
Yeah.
But nice to, again, we mentioned it last week that we're not reliant on those guys to score the goals, which I think works for them as well because there's obvious. I wouldn't say there's pressure on Gus and there's pressure on Dallo to score the goals. Ollie Coker's scored two. Cardwell's obviously got goals in him. So has Leon. Like
Mm.
we've got goals all over the pitch. I know Kendall didn't score at Halifax, but he scored at Hartlepool. Is
Yeah.
that his 10th for the season? Like we've
I think it's about eight.
It's getting there though. It's
Yeah.
getting there. Like, not 9 or 10 goals from someone that spent quite a long period out injured. There's goals in this
Oh
team.
yeah.
I'm not worried going into the playoffs. I'm not worried about our ability to score goals. That's one thing I'm not worried about.
It's funny you say that because previously we wouldn't be worried about conceding either. We had prior to yesterday, and we'll get onto that. We had one of the second best defensive record in the league.
Yeah,
That's taken a huge dent now.
it did, but it's still
It
a
is, but yeah, I would have thought going up against Hartlepool, Wildstone, and a playoff game, I wouldn't have wanted to concede 4 goals in those 3 games. You think, if we are, I'd rather we got them all out of the way.
well,
Then
yeah,
it's a little bit uncharacteristic. But then we're uncharacteristic in the last game as well.
yeah,
We go and score 6.
yeah.
Um,
So I've just pulled the league table up in regards to our goal difference. Um, Out of the playoff pack, but by that I mean the eliminators. So I mean Boreham
hmm,
Wood, Scunny, us, and Forest Green. We've got the best defensive record. We've got
yeah.
the second best goal scored. Boreham Wood have scored
Boreham Wood
90.
nearly got hit 100 goals now, haven't they?
Yeah,
Nearly.
but 94.
Yeah, okay.
94, and we're currently on 81. But we've got the best defensive record out of those four, and we've got the second best defensive record still. You say it's taken a hit in the last couple of games, which it has, but
Hmm.
we've got the second best defensive record in the league.
Yeah, it's funny though because we would always over the years we've always moaned about lack of goals,
Yeah,
and we've been good defensively ever since Kev came in. We've always been very short at the back, and then it's always been that kind of like not for without the want of trying. We create a lot of chances, but we seem to not really be scoring as many as we'd want. But then, as we've just pointed out, we've got 2 players on 34 goals between them. All of our strikers have at least scored 5, even including Josh Walker. We've not exactly been starved of goals. When you rewind, um, even 2 years ago,
yeah.
we were struggling for a centre forward to hit double figures, and now we've got, nearly. Well, how many's Kendall on now? He's nearly on 10.
That's what. Yeah, I'm just
Dallo's
I'm
on
just trying to
17.
look. Yeah,
Slavy's on about 7 or 8. Hopper's got about 5. Walker's on about 6 or 7 as well. It's yeah, we've not done too badly. So for the last 2 games to go and score 9 goals is like uncharacteristic. But then also to can say we've conceded 6 in 2 is
yeah,
also extremely uncharacteristic. Normally, for us to concede 6 goals would take us about 4 or 5 games on a bad run.
yeah, yeah,
So a little bit of it's a scary one because it opens the door for people to go, oh, that's how you exploit them. And the fact that in 2 games in a row we've had teams get in behind us. The Halifax game, funny enough, is the first game in absolute weeks that we weren't the team with the most shots on goal.
yeah, yeah.
We only had 3 more on target than them. and they had two more shots on goal. I know, obviously, you can go and like, smash them into the car park all day and stat pack if you really want to, but it's like it's
Yeah,
interesting
are these
for
shots
letting
on
Halifax have a lot
target
of the ball.
or are they just shots? Because you can
No,
have a
just shots.
yeah, so you can have a pot shot from 30 yards, which goes in the main stand.
Oh yeah, I was
I'm
great
not
at
worried
that
about
Sunday league.
I'm not worried about that. You can do that all day. I'd be more
No,
interested in the shots on target. Um, yeah, I think so. Yeah, Halifax was a pretty special occasion. It was something of a massive rarity that we've scored six in one game.
yeah,
But the chances and the way that we play, it wasn't a massive shock. It's been
no.
coming. I've felt that coming. And but then last night, the Hartlepool game was a little bit of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, it
That
kind of the
that had
game
everything.
kind of got we kind of set our stall out um, before the game started, and a few fans were sort of worrying that this was going to happen when you make that many changes. And I feel like there's a little bit of at the time we're both like seven changes, including a goalkeeper,
Yeah.
is that's a lot for anyone, you know, and for any team in this division, doesn't matter whether you're York or Rochdale, making seven changes against Hartlepool is a big ask, you know, and we questioned it. We wondered whether, obviously, I know we've got to manage fitness and we've got to manage any kind of knocks because, you know, at the end of the day, the team doesn't pick itself just yet. We've been saying this all season. We're
Mm.
not everyone can agree on our starting 11, but there are a few sort of key players that have been performing recently and players that come back from injury. You don't really want to risk. Like I was totally not expecting Cardwell to start just
Mhm.
because the way he's been sprinting around the field, it's like he's trying to snap his hamstring, but kind of keep him in bubble wrap. Um, and then obviously, so you're expecting a few changes, but changing the goalkeeper, changing a few, sort of six outfielders. You're thinking this could go badly. We didn't take the lead after 20 seconds, thanks to Nick Hayes, and then we're thinking, okay, no, this is fine. Look, we are controlling the game. We've made seven changes against arguably a team that, if the season was 10 games longer, could have been a playoff side, and we're we're dominating them until
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want it to turn into like individually picking out any of the seven players that come in last night because I don't like Owen Mason, for example, what
yeah.
the
Well,
situation
I
you're
was going to
saying
say
there with the
for me to cut
goalkeeper.
to the cut to my chase, but then we'll go back. Is I'd say that we ended on some silver linings,
Yeah, we
and
did.
it went from being that's it, season's over, to me kind of thinking, okay, this isn't all bad. This isn't all bad. We can take this L and move on. But as
Yeah.
I say, that's where I left it. But going back to then that kind of half an hour of we've just imploded our season.
Yeah. So I don't think it was a case of necessarily like individual errors. I don't think it was it was a really strange game. It was a
Mm,
really odd game because I don't think we've played badly. I don't. And I'll still maintain that. I would like to watch it again. I've not had a chance to yet, but I don't think we've played badly. But all those changes, and this isn't a dig at anyone individually, but you change seven players, like you've just said, you change seven players in any team, it's
yeah,
going to cause a little bit of, oh, hang on a minute, like it just you're just not fluid. You're not finding your feet. It's a bit like when you make seven or eight changes for a cup game. Like
yeah,
it just unsettles everything. I don't think Owen Mason particularly like was at fault for any of the goals. I don't think he was at fault for any of the goals. I don't think Ben Goodliff was like individually at fault for any of the goals. Who else come in? Miley come in to start. I don't think Miley was individually at fault for. I'm not picking on any of the individuals, but
no,
collectively, I think it unsettled us and
yeah,
we
and
weren't used to it. And I
no,
think that is why we still looked very good and very threatening going forward. But I
Well,
think that's
we did
why.
once we got a few different bodies on.
No, I
I
don't.
felt that's
I still
where,
think. Even when they equalised, which was a really good individual goal. Yeah, you could question a little bit of the marking that he gets the space, but it's a great
yeah.
finish. It's a
I
great finish
I
that I
think
don't.
yeah, technically hit it well. I think for me that was the goal that frustrated me the most because it was very simple.
Well,
And
all the four goals we conceded are completely avoidable. That
that's the thing. That's where the game wasn't like, oh, he was shit, he was shit, he was shit. It was very much like, well, that was uncharacteristically us. That was uncharacteristically us.
yeah,
It was like watching a completely different team. And this is where it's like, well, okay, you might not think we played badly, but I don't think we played like we I don't think we played our game. And I thought for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, we looked like a completely different side for all the wrong reasons.
it's
We were
fu-
passing the ball behind each other. We were making runs beyond where the pass should be. We're loitering on the ball too long, looking for those triangles. We looked so slow. We looked like we were kind of trying to make it up as we go along. And that comes down to having that kind of chemistry with other players.
hmm.
There's a lot of waiting on the ball. I saw that I thought big credit for the back line would go to Joe Gubbins. I thought he really kind of held it together quite a bit. At times he was on the ball. He was waiting for people to get into position
Yeah.
before before forcing it forward. Where on the other side, Taylor looked like a completely different player, was forcing passes. He wasn't waiting for the teammates to get into position. He was forcing passes, which led to their third goal. And you're thinking, it changed obviously when Gus went off. But I thought them saying that, I thought Austin done his role
I thought
really, really
Austin
well.
played really well when he come on.
Yeah. But there was still this matter of like someone's making a run and this putting the ball 5 yards behind or putting the ball too far in front or giving the ball away, just passing it to them. And it didn't seem like us. We would normally pass a team around to death and look really in control. And then we'd go, okay, just put the ball in the back of the net. But it looked there's a lot of chaos kind of trying to force shots. It's just it looked very scrappy. Um,
It did break down into a scrap, but I still think we did spend a lot of time in their final third with the ball. But yeah, whether or not we were as clinical or as creative as we have been in the last few games, yeah, it probably wasn't quite as well. It obviously wasn't as clinical, but
no,
I
but
would still
but going away
maintain.
from home and scoring 3 goals, you'd normally
Well,
expect
that's
to
what I
come away at
mean.
3 points.
That's what I mean. We've still played well. We've scored three
Mm.
goals. I would absolutely maintain we have played worse this season and won.
Um, yeah. Because but then I would look at that and go, you know, arguably it's like we played better against Gateshead, just couldn't score. No, we
Well, and
were
the Truro game that but
yeah,
both
those
ended up
games,
being
Altrincham
draws.
as well. We looked totally head and shoulders above these teams in terms of absolute quality. And for the first 20 minutes against Hartlepool, that was what it looked like. No, they're nowhere near us. Absolutely nowhere near us for quality. And at that at what before 1-0, Hartlepool wouldn't have moaned if they were 3-0 down at that point.
No, I saw a lot of in Hartlepool. I mean, what was it? Less than a month ago when Wealdstone put seven past them, and
Yeah,
in that first 20 minutes. I could see I was a bit like I can see how that happens now
yeah.
because they've been stung early. We've hit them straight out of the gate 1-0
Mm,
after about 25 seconds and they were all over the place for about 10 15 minutes after that. If
yeah,
we'd have got a second goal in that period, I think it could have been another Halifax.
yeah.
But I can see why that Wealdstone game happens to them because
Mm,
they look like a fish out of water.
yeah. I don't think we looked fluent going forward, personally, until until Jack Bridge came on and until Cardwell came on. I don't think we looked totally fluid in terms of our attack. I think there was a little bit of we kind of reverted back to this kind of like, where's Gus? Where's Gus on the overlap? And this try and
Yeah,
float balls into the
losing Gus at
box. And
half time obviously hasn't helped, has it?
no, um, But even then, when he was on the pitch, there was a little bit of this kind of like bit robotic in how we're kind of trying to break them
Mm.
down instead of trying to like when Cardwell's on the pitch, we seem to just kind of like cut through teams, which is I guess because he is physical and he is quick, he's able to kind of do that. Like that pass a move for Kendall's goal. That's
Yeah, it was
that's
beautiful.
that's class.
It was
Straight away, I'm just like, you know what? This is where I was talking about the silver linings because we're at 4-1. You're thinking this is completely going to dismantle our momentum because it's heads down. We've just had an absolute thumping. It it's not just the players could probably just be like, fuck it, that was the game plan. You know, we're trying to do X, Y, and Z and fuck the result. But the fans obviously don't want that. But the fact that we got players coming through like Cardwell, back from injury and playing well and coming on and keeping that going, where you think, fuck yeah, he starts on Tuesday because it's like there's the momentum.
mm.
Um, Dallas had a bit of a quieter game. I think that was purely because of the amount of minutes he's played and how important he is to the team. It was a little bit, a bit like, yeah, you can do that.
Mm.
You can have those games when you're playing this many minutes. He played the full 90 like on Saturday,
Yeah.
and so I was a bit surprised. Um,
Do you think
and then
eight changes would have been a little bit too much?
at one too many, well, he scored his goal, didn't he? So
And they'd be like, get me
um,
off. I've done my bit.
that
Get
was
me off.
it. It was like almost Freddie Eastwood testimonial, wasn't it? Just like that'll do to the kickoff.
Took
Um,
kickoff, yeah.
I don't know.
Bless
I've
him.
been
His
really
poor
intrigued
knees.
now because how we handle Saturday because it's like,
Yeah,
do you go into it as like, you know what, lads, it ain't about the result. We've got to manage fitness and we've got to manage these injuries, knowing that you're playing Tuesday. Because I know we're worried about Colin being like, okay, you dropped the goalkeeper. Now, as a goalkeeper, you can sit there and go, well, I didn't concede four. I'm fucking ready to go. It's a little bit of like, he hasn't lost the battle. He's ready for the he's ready for the next one.
yeah.
If we had gone to that game and Colin concedes four, or we start our strongest team and go 4-1 down, then there's a lot more kind of residual battle scars from that, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there is there's a bigger picture here as the result of like full time last night. Um, yeah, it was great that we got the couple of goals back towards the end, and because it put a bit more respect to the scoreline. I think if you'd have come away from that 4-1, you'd have been like you just said, you'd been like, oh my God,
Mm,
that's an absolute drilling. Like the
yeah,
the worst time of the season to pull out our biggest defeat of the season. So
yeah,
yeah, on the face of it, there ended up only being one goal in it. And when we got that one back, when we got that 4-3, I was like, there's still 10 minutes left there with the extra time.
Oh, if that game was 5 minutes
Given
longer,
given what
we'd
given
have
what
drawn
we
that.
did in the playoffs last year, I can already see we're locked into that mode already now, by the way. We are
Mm,
full. One thing I will say, again, this goes back to the silver linings conversation. We look fit. We are still going like late in games. Our
yeah,
fitness levels are right up there. Um, but it does open up a bigger question going into the first of all the Wealdstone game of do we essentially do the same thing again with the starting 11? If you've got a player like Gus, you've got a player like Colin that are nursing knocks, you don't play them. You can't.
no,
You can't play them because if they get a proper injury in that game, well, season's effectively done.
yeah. For me, is a little bit of that. You got the balance of you want Golden to get a few minutes because obviously he did like 80 odd against Halifax back onto the bench for Hartlepool makes sense. But he's had injuries this season. You want
Yeah,
him if you're going to get promoted, he's got to play all those games in my
yeah. So
opinion.
I think the issues
Um,
that we're managing with these players,
so
I
maybe
believe
start
it's
him and give him 40, 45 minutes.
yeah,
I would give Gus a break, but put him on the bench because if it's one of those where you're 3-0 up and cruising, you
he's
can
gonna
kind of
want his goal.
bring him. You want to go, but you bring him on for the sponsors and whatnot. You know, what I mean, that's what kind of
Yeah, I
it
think
comes down
so.
to little things like that. But
So
do you,
Colin's got an ankle injury. We don't know how serious. I don't think it's too serious. I think it was a precautionary measure that he missed out last night. Gus, I believe it's an issue with his hip that he's
yeah.
been managing for a little while.
Well, he
I
went he
think
went
he's
down. He went down in the game after tracking back.
Do you know when
Uh,
I think Gus got that injury? I think he got it way back in September when we played Carlisle at home. I think he's had that little issue with his hip ever since then because he went off
yeah.
injured in that game.
The thing is, hip injuries, they're one of those where you can run around all you like and not flare it up. But then when you're going running into the corner flag and knee sliding and in the National League, you might as well do it in the car park at Tesco.
Yeah.
You're going to injure yourself, aren't you? So you've got to tone it down a bit, Gus.
Yeah, and I think the issue with James Golding is the Achilles. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Is
these
that the
are
injury you had at Crew?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, I think he's one that not I don't want to say necessarily struggles to play 2 games in a week because he was doing it. But I
Mm.
just think it's we've come to the end of that massive long stretch of Tuesday, Saturday every week for about 7 weeks.
Yeah.
I think the Achilles is screaming a little
Well,
bit now.
not being funny,
So
right?
put it on ice, mate.
Regardless of form, opinions, ability wise, ain't a bad rotation to have, is it? Golding and Goodliff. Like
No,
you'd
but
have you'd have
they're very
absolutely
different
snapped
players.
someone's arm off for that at the start of the season.
No, of course you would. And at this time last season, they were in the team together.
Yeah.
They were playing together as
Until he
part
got
of that.
injured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Golding missed. Well, he missed the final, didn't I? Can't remember if he played in the eliminators, but he
No,
definitely
he got recalled before.
did. He?
Yeah. Because
Mm.
that's when Goodliff really stepped up.
Yeah, he
So it was
did.
Goodliff, Taylor, Ralph, and then Bridge at wing back, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Ralph was in the side, wasn't he? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's a player that we went from really missing to. I mean, there's got to be some sort of end of season kind of something for Gubbins. Like Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
like like players sort of go a bit like bit unsung. I was talking to my dad about this. We said about being Osei Sankufa kind of got
Yeah.
a string of games going and played really well, and everyone kind of forgot about him as like credited him. Bit of
Right
an
back, wasn't
unsung
he?
centre back, wasn't he?
I
Sankufa.
thought I thought he was a right back. Well, I think he ended up being one of them that played all across the back
He was,
four.
yeah, quite young, quick, wasn't
Mm.
he? But yeah, I think the Wildstone game is going to be another of if you've got a knock, we're not risking you because you should be able to keep some form of personal momentum going if you can get some minutes on the pitch just to kind of keep sharp.
Mm.
Um, what we don't want is players not playing and getting that ring rust. Um, so like for me, if Gus is fit to play, but you want to rest him a little bit, yeah, I would start Austin against Wildstone, but I would bring Gus on just to, if the game calls for it, just to give him that touch on the ball. If it's nothing to
Mm.
do with an injury and it's just fatigue.
Yeah.
Um, but we've still got this like the back four kind of back five kind of picks itself realistically. We're going into the playoffs. I
Yeah.
think the strikers is one of two combinations depending on what you want. For me, it's Cardwell and Dallas, but I'm happy with
Yeah.
Cardwell and Kendall, and you have Hopper on the bench. But the midfield kind of not worries me a bit because Ollie Coker's stepped up at the right point now.
Mm.
Um, but then is it too early for Miley?
Well, I don't know. On the Hartlepool showing, you'd probably say yeah at the
Mm,
moment because I don't think you can drop Morton at the moment
no,
or Coker or Keenan. I think that's my three.
I think for me there's a slight question mark with playing Coker and Keenan together, um, and uh, whether that's I'm not sure exactly where that comes from, but I think we see better from Coker when he's able to be the forward man a little bit more. Um, versus when we had the games when he was being a bit more playing with Keenan, he's been a bit more defensive. Yeah, he did that brilliantly.
Mm.
Like um, that string of games where we played like Yeovil and who was it after that? I can't remember. Coker doing
Oh,
all
I
the
can't
dirty
remember
work,
now.
but he was doing all the dirty work. He wasn't popping up for the goals. Um, I think when he plays with Morton and even Austin in that regard, he's able to kind of sit into that kind of like number 9 a false nine position, which I think kind of really suited him, especially against Halifax because he was just cropping up on the edge of the area.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to hurt teams. We're going to turn up again at Boreham Wood, for example. They've got they've got obviously Rush up front, but they've got Zach Brunt sweeping him on the edge of the area. That's where they punish teams, and he's our version of that, in my
Mm.
opinion. That's where he's the bigger threat. I'd rather him there than Keenan, who at the moment he's donating balls to the fans, isn't he? So I'd rather have that kind of him in that position, and probably don't know. I feel like Austin and Morton in a weird way if Miley's not fully fit. But
You'd play Austin that centrally.
yeah, I think so. If he is what version of him turns up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think we went on that
Or we have, or
lengthy
do we start
unbeaten
with
run.
Leon? Does Leon pick up that role? Obviously, he
Not in the
played,
middle. Not in the middle like that. No, I
but
still think.
that's where he's got to play because that's where
Yeah,
he
but
played yesterday.
he blows hot and cold too much for me. At the moment. Listen. I think he's a very talented kid. He's got a lot of positive attributes, but for me right now, he's not a starter. He's not in a massive playoff game like that. Huge
No,
option to come in off the bench
no, I do agree, and
against
I think
tiring legs, but for me right now,
yeah.
he's not a starter.
But when I said about how we look a little bit like we're guessing, there's a little bit of I've played with people that would be the Leon at the level I played at, which is very much just like all the step overs. You don't know what he's going to do next. As a commentator and as watching the game and as an opposition, yeah, fucking that's terrifying when you don't know what he's going to do next. When he's your fucking teammate, you don't know what he's going to do next. Where do you run? Where do you go? Like, there's a little bit of like, if he's not going to do it himself, nothing's going to happen,
Hmm.
and that can sometimes can look great, but he needs that kind of final end product, a little bit of reliability of what he's going to do next, and
Yeah,
you know,
I think
it's not
Leon's
about
at his
limiting him,
best.
but at times there needs to be this little bit of like, what's your what's your objective? If you're cutting in and you can't get the shot away, there needs to be an idea of then what's going to happen next. So
Hmm.
someone needs to peel off to the back post, and that's your plan B, or someone needs to come back for the layoff, like Coca, for example. There's a little bit of like, oh, what's he going to do? Oh, now he's fired it into the defender, and now it's gone behind me. It's, I think, we're bringing him on against tired legs, and he can just kind of force something to happen, and he's a brilliant, brilliant footballer.
Yeah, I think that at the moment, I think that is where he's at his best when he can be an impact player against tiring defenders and cause a bit of chaos. Because you think back to those playoff games last year, there was late drama in every single one of them, the eliminator, the semi-final, and
Oh,
even the final. And he was brilliant in those games
yeah, we
because
scored in the final.
it was chaos and
Mm,
it was kitchen sink territory for a lot of it. And yeah,
yeah.
I think that is where he's at his best when he can be a little bit more of an individual,
Mm,
but just put the ball in a dangerous area. Beat your man,
yeah.
put the ball in a dangerous area because at that stage of the game, yeah, it's chaos. Somebody will be there.
Yeah. So even his goal against Halifax was very much like that's
It's a
a little
slide
bit of
tackle.
class he's got. Well, the goalkeeper had no idea he was there. The goalie weren't expecting that. I think he's
The guy,
turned around expecting
he'd
the ball to
given
go
up,
out.
hadn't he? The keeper
Yeah, the
had given
goalkeeper
up.
gave up. But don't get me wrong, even if he hadn't, that ball's in the back of the net. Like,
Yeah.
um, lovely little finish.
Yeah,
He's
he's got a lot of attributes, Leon. He's a great young player, great young prospect.
yeah,
But yeah, I think at the minute you look at I think it was the Aldershot game, wasn't it? You looked at our bench and you were like, oh my God, like what a bench to turn around and have at this stage of the season.
yeah.
We're getting all he's one of the ones that's recently come back in. He's been out injured.
Mm.
So we've got a lot of options now, which because essentially I'll the league finishes on Saturday, and then
Yeah,
we go into a tournament. The playoffs are a tournament, and
yeah,
we've spoken many a time this season saying how the way that we play is actually very suited to cup football and tournament football, if you will, because all of these games they're shit or bust.
Yeah.
So
And
whoever
we've
you're
managed
playing
them so
against,
well.
yeah, whoever you're playing against, they can't sit back and be conservative. There's no second leg. So
Yeah.
these games, it's a just go. It's a knockout game from the off, and
Yeah.
I think we flourish in those games with the way that we
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. And I think we've got some big game players now as well, where maybe last season we felt like there was a little bit of the subs were just about the same sort of standard. We didn't really have like much of a
Well,
direct offering.
with the greatest of respect, this year in the playoffs, we could quite easily be turning around to our bench and bringing on either Harry Cardwell or Andy Dallas. Last year, it was Macaulay Bonne.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I mean, and
again, I like Bond,
I
but
liked Bond,
we've
yeah, and I
improved the standard.
exactly. I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but there's levels.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've everyone in this league has improved. Where
Yeah.
this this team this team we've got now beats Oldham in the final, and and that's simple as that.
Mm.
But everyone else has improved. So I mean, it's a great advert for the free up, free down.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Especially come Saturday when fucking York and Rochdale clash. But I mean, I think we're going to go into Saturday. It's a dress rehearsal for the final. It's our last home game. That's what Hartlepool had last night as well. Their last home game. So
Yeah.
you turn up for it. It's a bit of always seems to be a little bit of a
There was a bit of a weird atmosphere those last games of the
well,
seasons
yeah.
where
When
they
that it was a couple of seasons ago,
essentially,
Willstone was the last game of the season again.
yeah, we do
Um,
always seem to play Wildstone quite late in the season, but
it helps with policing, I guess. I don't
when
know, but
when there's essentially nothing to play for, I know there is in terms of like you want your place in the team for the eliminator, and would be amazing to go out and top 80 points this season. We win on Saturday, we'll finish on 81 points, which is a fantastic return and
oh yeah.
considerably better off than last season. I think that would put us on like what 12, 13 points better than last season. Can't remember exactly. So there is a lot to play for in terms of our own benefit and our own standings. But as a fixture, there's nothing really riding on it. So
No,
they can
it's all about for
sometimes,
me injury free.
yeah,
Get some extra minutes into the legs of maybe maybe Carwell,
certainly
maybe
Cardwell
Miley.
and yeah, and Leon. But I think all of those, I'd be very
I think
surprised
the
if they're
starting
not all
lineup's going to look
subs.
very similar to what we had against Halifax, minus a couple of maybe Mason comes in again for Colin. I don't want that to be the case. I think that would really worry me if Colin's nowhere to be seen again. Um,
Yeah, even just to save a
because
bit of face and not make us all nervous, put him on the bench just so we can see him.
yeah, I just think yeah. Otherwise, there's a little bit of no disrespect to Mason. I think if we go into the playoffs with him in goal, I wouldn't be as confident.
And again, that's nothing to do with the ability levels of Owen Mason. It's the
No, this is
momentum.
about Colin's ability.
It's momentum, and we went on an 8 game unbeaten run there, and certainly the back five and the back six, including the goalkeeper, that was picking itself. So that for me, that can't be changing too much, or if at all, for the eliminator, be it Scunthorpe or Bournemouth. The only really frustrating thing from last night with the Hartlepool result was, had we won that game, we still had a chance of finishing fifth and getting a home eliminator. Yes, we would have had to beat Wealdstone and hope Scunthorpe lost, so you're asking for a favour. I get that. But there was still a chance. There was still that
Mm.
little chance of a home eliminator, which is obviously now gone. So we know we're going to be away. We just don't know if it's going to be Scunthorpe or Bournemouth.
You've said you don't want Scunthorpe.
I don't. I don't.
Is it purely like yeah? Part of me is like yeah, all that travel, but conceding 6 goals in 2 games and then going ha, Boreham Wood is a little bit like oh fuck's sake.
Yeah, no, there is that. Yeah, I just think, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's over all the. We've played Scunthorpe a lot historically. We tend to spend a lot of time in the same division as each other.
Yeah,
We've got a dog shit record at Glanford Park.
Do you know what? My prediction: James Golding gonna do a John Egan.
That'd be nice. Or anyone. Harry Taylor never scored a
Uh,
goal for us. He's
oh,
got
can you imagine?
no. He's got to save that for the final. He's got to save that for the final.
He's
Harry
got to
Taylor's
redeem.
our
He's
Duncan
got to
Shucks.
redeem that assist for yesterday's third goal for Hartlepool.
Yeah, it was his first mistake of the season, wasn't it?
You know when you press the wrong button in FIFA? That's what that was.
I do that quite a lot at the minute because I play it on the Switch now, and the
Oh
buttons are
right.
all around the wrong way
I've
to
not
what I'm
played. I've
used
not
to.
played it in absolutely
Well,
years.
neither had I, which might be half my problem. But I felt like my dad when I used to play him at FIFA when I was a kid. I was like, oh, I'm the FIFA dad now, and I'm crap.
Just slide tackle, slide tackle, slide tackle,
Yeah,
slide tackle.
red card because I pressed the wrong
Yeah,
button.
that's
I've
it.
just two-footed somebody in the chest.
Well, should we finish up with a prediction for Saturday in terms of how the
Hmm.
league's going to finish?
How the league's going to finish?
Ref blows his whistle, obviously, but I meant in terms of
Yeah.
um, Rochdale, York, and then the playoff
Oh,
final
okay.
places.
We're doing that one too. Um,
Obviously, the bottom of the table's finished. I'm not bothered about mid-table positioning. I'm talking about who's going to be playing who in the playoffs.
well, I'm manifesting that York win the title,
Okay.
which puts Rochdale in the playoffs because, yeah, I don't think I know you'd have the massive like the deflating feeling, that gutting feeling, whoever it is that doesn't win that game. But I think York would be considerably stronger than Rochdale in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I hope for that sake, I hope York win the league. Um, I think we'll finish sixth.
Yeah.
I think we're going to finish sixth. Yeah, I think we'll win. I'll back us to win. We've had a very good home record this season, and I think we're going to see out the regular league season with a victory at home.
Okay. So you're going
So
for
so not a lot would change with fourth to seventh. I don't think a lot would change then.
nothing will change because
Because Scunthorpe can't catch
Scunthorpe
Boreham Wood,
can't
can
catch
they?
Boreham
Yeah,
Wood. No,
and
Boreham Wood
Boreham Wood
can't
can't
catch
catch
Carlisle.
Carlisle.
The only outlier, the only thing that can change now is us and Forest Green. That
Yeah.
is it.
Who
And
have Forest
York and
Green got?
Rochdale.
Who have Forest Green got?
Um, I was it Hartlepool? No, they just had Hartlepool, haven't they? Who have they got? This is a good question.
I think we'll win.
Morecambe. So Morecambe's last
Morecambe.
game.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I think we'll both win. I think us and Forest Green will both win, which would keep us above
Okay.
them, wouldn't it? Barring a
Well,
ridiculous
keep
goal
just to
swing.
keep it interesting. I'll go for something slightly different then.
Go on.
I think we'll draw, and I think Forest Green will win, and I think we'll play Boreham Wood on Tuesday.
So if we finish sixth, we're playing Scunthorpe.
Yeah, finish seventh. We got Boreham Wood,
Okay.
and then that will leave Scunthorpe and Forest Green to battle that one out. And I think if we can go past Boreham Wood, I don't think we can be. I don't think we can particularly be scared
Of
um
either.
of Carlisle.
No. No.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing as well. It's like you finish seventh, you play Boreham Wood, but then you get Carlisle in the next one. Or we finish sixth, we play Scunthorpe, and then we get Rochdale again in a playoff.
With like the fixtures that got postponed and the fixture that got abandoned, we seem to have played Rochdale about five times this season.
Well, we had them in the playoffs as well, so it's really like this. We
Yeah,
played quite a lot recently. Um,
in the last calendar year, we've played Rochdale a lot.
yeah, I mean, what I will say is obviously with all the stuff we've had with Rochdale, if we don't get past Boreham Wood or Scunthorpe, I want them to go. I want them to win the playoffs.
Rochdale?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
agree because it makes
I think it's justice. As much as I'm like all this shit with Rochdale and whatnot, if we can't get past the eliminator, I want them to win the playoffs.
yeah, I hear what because it's then the two teams that have gone over 100 points get promoted.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and as a football purist, yeah, I would have to agree. I think you're spot on, but I would also add in there that if York and Rochdale both get promoted this season, the teams that are getting relegated out of League Two next year, it makes the overall balance of the top sides next year. I don't want to use the word easier, but I don't think the competition for that sort of top three next year will be as strong. If York and Rochdale
no,
go up this year, Harrogate and Barrow, who are looking like are going to be the two that come down, they'll be nowhere near it in terms of going back up next year. So I think in that regard, it makes it a much more open game and a much more level playing field for who's going for it next year. Because if it is those two, you'd like to imagine that us, Forest Green, um, Boreham Wood, Scunthorpe, Carlisle, we'll all be champing at the bit going for it again.
Mm.
And I think it leaves it a much more open playing field with those two going up.
Well, we've heard it all here first, so very good way to wrap it.
Yeah, interesting one. Interesting one. But as we know, if you're new around here, this club never does it the easy way. We've
No,
we've
well,
never we've never done anything the easy way in my 30 years of supporting this club. So
well, our
I
next our
changed
next
now.
episode is going to be after Tuesday,
Yes, it
so
will. Yeah,
a
yeah.
hell of a lot is going to happen. Um,
Hmm.
so hopefully
Should
next
we
time you hear from
should
us,
we record two alternate endings just in case?
yes, shall we?
Hmm.
Well, this is going out before Wildstone. We just have to basically go and well, either next week's episode is going to be wow, can't wait to go and play Carlisle, or it's going
Or
to be
or we're going to be
well, we've
done.
got 2.5 weeks to Wildstone. What do you want to do?
Yeah, yeah. I never thought of it like that. This, yeah, yeah,
So, well, I don't know. Well, we're manifesting positive vibes. I'm let's all start stressing about how can we afford Wembley 2 weeks in a row.
yeah, yeah. No, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It's never dull. There's never a dull moment, is there? But yeah, Will's done first. Let's get through that. And I say get
Yeah,
through that like I think it's going to be like tough. I'm not suggesting that Will's done a pushovers. We are more than equipped to deal with that challenge that Wilston are going to bring. We've not even spoke about the sort of the asterisks next to that one of a bit of a dress rehearsal for the trophy final. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's
there is
that's
still.
always the one me and my dad would say. Whoever loses that game wins the final.
Mm, yeah, but I think we're going to do both.
Do the double.
Until Hartlepool, and until that Hartlepool game probably brought me back down to earth a little bit, I'd convinced myself we were doing the lot. And because that unbeaten run that we went on, I was like, we've timed this perfectly. We've timed this to absolute perfection. And I'd convinced myself we're going to Wembley twice, we're going to win the whole lot. And then Tuesday night happened, and I was like, I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself.
Yeah. Or will Wildstone beat us 4 times in a season? Tune in
No.
next time to find out.
Right. On that note, see you later.
See you later. I'm
Ollie's
dying.
dying.
If I make the final,